Luke 12:49. I am come to send fire on earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like those heathen. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And as we enter into these last moments of the last days, the Lord is going to gather up his elect that are scattered among all people. And as that time gets closer, all hell is going to break loose here on earth. And all the signs are here to show you, and are being shown to you by the Lord. And all you have to do is just pay attention to geopolitical news, and you'll see that. So we're going to watch this report about the portion of Asia that they refer to as Europe being taken back by melanated people. Because remember, Europe was full of melanated people before the pale people took it over. And they've tried to bury and hide this history. It's funny how Esau complains about losing their homes to foreigners, when they're the biggest colonizing, rapists, heritage, land thieves that the world, most violent that the world has ever seen. And as I've been telling them in my lessons, the entire time for all these years now, that Manifest Destiny had a part 2. They did not read the fine print. They ignored the fine print, thinking that it would never come. And now that's what you're witnessing. As a matter of fact, that's probably what this lesson will be called. The Manifest Destiny part 2. The payment, the repayment, or something to that effect. Luke 12:51. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house, and 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. So that's speaking not only of the Israelites, but of all men, especially Esau, Edom, Esav, as the rabbis refer to them as. Verse 53, the father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And that's what you're witnessing also when it comes to this truth. All right? When it comes to this truth, houses are divided because, some of our people want to cleave on to the lies of Islam, to the lies of Christianity, to the lies of Seventh-day Adventists or Buddhism or whatever, witchcraft, Satan worship. Meanwhile, the prophecies written in the Bible, which are being told by the prophets of the Lord, are coming to pass. None of those other things are. So without any further ado, Clayton Morris and his guest.
Stabbings in the United Kingdom, more violence from illegal immigrants pouring across the borders, more boats showing up with illegal migrants. What is happening in Europe as it descends into chaos? They will call you a racist. They will call you a bigot if you call out what is happening there. And if you try to point out how what's happening there is about to happen to the United States of America. Race riots across the country and more illegal immigrants causing violence and destruction in these countries. For that, we want to bring in today, new to the show, is Digby Furno. He is a journalist and host of Man on the Run, and joins us, who knows deeply about what's happening in this part of the world, and can shed some light on all of this latest violence. You've been doing a great job of covering this, Digby. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Clayton. Thanks for having me on.
So let's just bring our audience up to speed here. We've been, of course, covering the violence over the past couple of weeks, the horrific stabbings of those girls at the dance studio, and then more, of course, people pouring into the streets. And it's been fascinating to watch the propaganda, right? It's been unbelievable to watch the propaganda from the mainstream media. If you call out this violence, you call attention to it, you're labeled a bigot, you're labeled a racist, and of course the clampdowns on social media. So just got to paint a picture where we are right now here in the middle of, towards the end of August.
Okay, so, I mean, today there have been more stabbings. There was another stabbing in London today. 2 days ago, there was a woman and some children also stabbed just outside Manchester. These things aren't being reported properly by the media. They're more interested on talking about people who have posted hurty words on social media and are fast tracking these people into jail within 24 hours. Some of these are OAPs, old age pensioners, sort of in their 60s, in their 70s, no previous record.
This is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. And that's where we're headed, where it's about to be illegal for the men of the Lord to break down information like this and filter it through the scriptures, because that is what they fear the most. All right. It's not so much as them being revealed, as far as, what's going on in Israel, what's going on in America, what's going on in China, Russia, anything like that. What the powers that be fear the most, this is why that Israeli woman said in that meeting right after October 7th, that the biggest threat to Israel are black youth in America. And it's like, wait a minute, the Hezbollah or Hamas just invaded you, so you say, but the biggest threat to Israel is black youth. And what they're saying without saying is this truth, because they know that the so-called Negroes in America primarily, and of course they're still scattered abroad throughout the world, but the primary bulk of the tribes of Judah, Benjamin and Levi, the kingdom of Judah, is here in America. And they are very well aware of that, and they know it. And now they know that you know it. So they want to demonize you for even speaking about it. And that's what this is really about, trying to silence the prophets. All right.
They are going through the criminal justice system, the two-tier justice system that we now have in the UK, and they are in jail within 24 hours. The problem here is that the prisons are already overpopulated in the UK, and now we have a one-in, one-out system. Operation Early Dawn, I believe it's now called. So if you're a rapist, if you're a murderer, if you're a robber, you could get let out of jail early because somebody has said something that somebody deems offensive online, which to me is just absolute madness.
And it is madness. And this is Psalms 94:20. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? Right? And that's exactly what this is. You're framing mischief by law because you're making a man an offender for a word. That's the scripture itself. I can't think of that scripture right now. I'll try to find it. But you're making a man an offender for a word, and not because he said a word that's insulting or degrading, because he said a word that is true. All right. So we tell you that the JOOs are small hats, that they're Asaph, they're Esaph, that they're Esau, Edom. That's not slander. That's not anti-semantics. It's not anti-anything. It's the M and F in truth. And that's why it hurts and it stings so bad. All right. Which they can only have themselves to blame for that, for trying to carry on and keep up this lie, this charade for so long. And then the only way, and so since they can't deal with the scriptures, they can't deal with the historical facts and relics that prove everything that we say is true. They're weaponize their control of the narrative and through their media to try to slander. All right. Because you best believe the work that Clayton Morris does, they don't like it when he points out all the fallacies and the wrongdoings and the breaking of the law and the overriding of the laws of the lands here in America and abroad throughout the NATO EU countries. There, you best believe they're violating their land's constitutions and everything to create this one world, thing as well. But the true the thing that bothers them the most is identifying who the Israelites really are today. All right. And remember, you know, they use the word, that J word, the J-ish word. They swap that word out with Israelite. All right. Or with the Israelites. Okay. And so they make this confusion when people, because they've associated the two together when they're completely two different things, because the J-O-O-ish Esav, the Esau, Edom, Amalek for the most part, and anyone can convert to that and then claim that you're actually an Israelite according to the Torah, according to the Tanakh, according to the book of the prophets, according to the holy word of what you call God. All right, you're only an Israelite. You're only a saint unless your bloodline goes back through your father, through the sperm line, you know, back to Jacob, back to the patriarchs, back to Jacob, back to Isaac, back to Abraham, point blank, period. And that's why they talk about this mother thing. They do all sorts of things that go against the scriptures, and they hate it when you point it out or when you prove it. All right. They gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. All right. But Yahweh is my defense, and my power is the rock of my refuge. So that was Psalms 94, 20 through 22. All right. So let's let them speak again.
What do you say to those who say that these this violence is being staged? And I've definitely seen videos of burnings of the Israeli flag and other things like that. So can you talk about some of the staging? It seems like anytime you see one of these events, or you see a lot of this chaos, we're seeing it at the Democratic National Convention as we speak. Antifa infiltrating different riots in order to rabble rouse. So you see this.
Antifa, BLM are controlled oppositions. BLM is a white organization, so-called, with a black name, so-called. And once again, they control the narrative. When people say fake, they don't mean that it's not happening. What they mean is that it was staged. And unfortunately, at some of these staged events, people really do get shot, get stabbed, get burned, get blown up. All right? So, like the Sandy Hook thing, which is still questionable. But nevertheless, when I say questionable, I mean the facts surrounding the way the events happen. The same way that, 9/11 has completely been blown out of the water. The narrative that they tell, that's like, trying to make 2 + 2 = 5, but yet they still push it. Was the same thing with a lot of these other things. And no one's saying that no one really died. What they're saying is that the whole narrative is fake. All right. That's what's being said when people say this is fake. This is, this is not real. All right.
It's on a regular basis. What do you say to those who say, all of this so-called violence, these stabbings, it's all fake. It's all being staged. What do you say to those people?
I don't think it's fake. I think some things are being encouraged, and certainly the way that Keir Starmer has gone about this since the start of his premiership, he has turned groups of the UK against each other. There is no left, there is no right. There is far left and there is far right. He only spoke yesterday in Northern Ireland, calling anybody that was right or far right, he was calling them racists. You're labeling your own people, and people are going to start going, well, if I'm a bloody racist now, I'll start acting like a racist. That's not okay, but you can see how this can affect people of working class who have already felt like they've been.
So, they're manipulating and using the people, and then they push these stories, which are half-truths. And like, for example, the way they're demonizing the Venezuelans is making, and trying to drive a division between the so-called Negroes here in America, even the other Hispanic people that were here, between them and the Venezuelans. But the truth of the matter is, that's what's being shown in the media. But what I see, living in a city where there are, so many thousands of them, is tens of thousands of them here in Chicago, what I'm seeing with my own eyes is opposite of what which is being portrayed in the media on,